I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I was hearing some kind of echo there for a second. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 608th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and it is Wednesday. We are sorry that we were not here last night. YouTube was having some technical difficulties. They had basically been having technical difficulties on and off yesterday all day. And we kept waiting for it to go. We kept waiting for it to go and waiting for it to go, waiting for it to go. And I finally made the call. Okay, well, we have the other platforms, but YouTube's the home. So if we aren't rocking at home, then we called it off. And literally about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes after I called the show off, it appeared to fix. Everything was upright. They kept telling us, I got a message saying that they were working on it and it would be prepared and fixed sometime in the evening, but I didn't know how long it was going to go. So we weren't here last night, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make up for it tonight. We have a lot to discuss tonight. We have three major topics, the big topics. And then we have a couple of other smaller things that we're going to get to as well. First and foremost, I want to let everybody know the big three. We got a quick little story about a Delaware County bell, $22,000 Delaware County bell. And we're going to talk about that. I'm explaining to you what's going on. A lot of people already know what I'm talking about. This is not obviously breaking. I'm not breaking any news here. This has been being discussed since Monday, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on this and explain to you, my take, give you my commentary on the situation with the Delaware County bell. Next up, we're going to be talking about early voting. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Indiana House Bill 1359, and it's specifically not, we'll talk about the House bill, but we're specifically talking about the amendment number 2 that was pushed forward 2 days ago by Indiana State Senator Mike Gaskill. Mike Gaskill pushed amendment 2 forward, and what it talks about is cutting early voting in half from 28 days before the election to 16 days before the election. So it would take away half of those days. And I'm going to tell you just straight up front, I'm not against that, and I'm not for it. I normally don't say that. I normally land someplace pretty quickly, one side or the other. I've got mixed feelings about this, and I want to have a discussion about this, and I want there to be more discussion, more conversation about this. But because of what it is, because it's the Indiana legislature, because it's politics in Indiana, there more than likely will not be more discussion, more communication. And it'll be something that they just vote on and decide without any kind of input. So we'll see what goes on. We'll talk about this. And then we're going to end up, and this is very important for the Henry County folks out there, and I know a bunch of you have been reaching out to me. I was inundated last night because yesterday was Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and I made my way to the House of Sproles. And do not be alarmed, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a permanent house. This is a very, very, very temporary house of Sproles. It's the Henry County Sheriff's Department. I made my way there to meet with Chief Deputy Josh Smith and the jail commander, Stacy Guffey, is what I was told. Upon my arrival, Josh Smith was not there. To my knowledge, Sproles was not there, and that's something that we hear happens a lot, that they're just not there during the day, so that's kind of odd. We'll talk about that. But then we'll talk about what happened yesterday. We will talk about the review of videos, where it currently stands, what's going on, and everything that's going on there. So those are the big three that we're going to talk about this evening, along with a couple of other things. So if you know anybody from Delaware County or city of Muncie that's interested to hear about some, what I believe just to be wasteful expenses, please bring them to the show. Share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. Share the link. That's what's going to be up first. Then we're going to go into early voting, and then we'll end up with the Henry County records. And I know that there's a lot of people that are wanting to hear about this, so I specifically put this to the end. And people's like, what? I want to hear about it. I'm here now. But it's because I know that there are people that won't be able to be here. And specifically, there are people that are involved with that story that won't be able to be here until later. So that's the reason we are doing it like that. So it is what it is, and we will get through it. Hey, I want to welcome you all. Thank you all for being here. Every single one of you. Going to say a big special shout out to Tim Nickham. Saw him down there. Welcome, welcome. If you could, while you guys are thinking about it, smash that like button. If you're here on YouTube, hit that little thumb. And if you have not subscribed to the show, please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a regular subscribe on YouTube. Very, very easy. Doesn't cost you a dime. We don't want your money. We want your views, your ears, and your thoughts. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. Please communicate to us. Yeah. Hey, if you want to donate to the Bilbrey Haircut Fund, I am going to be going and getting it cut. No, you don't have to donate. I am going to be going and getting it soon, hopefully this weekend, which means we should have my haircut sometime after the May primary. So we'll just have to hold on. And I will tell you, producer Kate and I did not work out any kind of thoughts about the contest yet. So we still don't have that going. Hopefully maybe tonight, if we've got a little bit of time, after the show, Kate and I can talk about what we can do. Maybe put that in your mind hole, and we can discuss that after the show. So, okay. Also, before we get started, I do feel like I need to offer the obligatory remark offer that's been on the table here for a while. Just to do it, put it out there, not a whole big bunch of fanfare and everything. But I see that we do have a Henry County Sheriff's Deputy. Bite my tongue, slap my hands. Excuse me. We have a wannabe candidate running for the Henry County Sheriff that is in the House, Randy Howard. And as we have done every time that Randy has been here in the last couple of days, I will offer him the chance to come on the show if he wants to come on the show and offer his 15 minutes, his stump speech, if you will, let us and let all of the Henry County viewers know why they should vote for him. We would get that out of the way early, allow him the chance to do that. All he's got to do is say, I want that. Give me that link. And I will help him out with that. But that's up to him. And we'll offer that because we think that it's only fair that the voters of Henry County hear all of his great ideas and hear what he has to bring to the table. I think that would be a very important thing that you would want to explain to the voters of Henry County and letting them know that. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we put that out there, and we're going to go ahead and get into the show. I need to pull one thing up here. Just give me a second. I was having a little bit of problem with my mouse there for a second. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. There we go. I think I've got to go in and get new glasses. I hate doing that, but I think I'm going to be going in and get new glasses because these are just not cutting it the way that they used to. I need to fine-tune that supervision of mine and double check what's going on. So we'll be doing that here soon too, along with a haircut. So, that's actually one doctor I don't mind going to, the eye doctor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead. Let me, I don't have my little small baby computer here, so I need to pull up comments. I haven't seen you. I guess I've been not seeing you. Okay. Now, wait a minute. So I want to say something because I'm glad I saw this. American Farmer says, here we go with all the damn commercials. I want you guys, I did something. Okay. I did something specifically that should change what's happening. Okay. I specifically have done a little tweak that from our end should kill the commercials while live. Okay. The only thing that YouTube gives us to do that, I went in and I selected 0 live commercials. So you guys are saying that you've at least, American Farmer saying they've seen one. It might take a minute for that to activate. It might not be here until tomorrow. I just want to tell everybody, it's not our fault. We only run commercials after the show. After the share is just a video on YouTube. And if a show is an hour and 30 minutes long, we only air 3 commercials, front, middle, back, and they're only about 5 to 10, 15 seconds. If a show is 2 hours long, we might air 4, basically front, middle, back, and then another one spread in there somewhere. But we generally do not run commercials while live, while live here. So if you're seeing those, it's first of all something YouTube is doing, and I am so sorry, but it does help us. So that's one thing. I don't want anyone to miss content. So we're trying to take care of that. Please bear with us. And if it's still here tonight, maybe it'll be gone tomorrow, but we are working to try to fight that for you guys. So please bear with us. We're doing what we can. Okay. The other thing, pop-ups blocked comments. I don't know what that means, but we'll do what we can there too. I don't know what that is. We'll see. We'll have to find out. Okay. The last thing that I want to say is I get commercials in the comment part of the, I see what you're saying, screen, and the live feed too. I don't know what that is. That's really strange. but we'll see what happens. I get it. Well, hopefully it's not muting. Some people said it was muting us, and that's what I will destroy anything that does that, because we don't want to mute the content, obviously. Okay, let's get into it here, and we will continue fighting that and doing what we need to do. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, talking about the $22,000 DelCo bell. That's not like a Taco Bell commercial. It's not a new rival of Taco Bell. We're talking about Delaware County, and we're talking about the Delaware County bell. As most of you know, Delaware County, as the Delaware County citizens specifically do, we changed from the Delaware County Justice Center being in downtown Muncie, and a lot of offices that were in the Delaware County building. We changed and sent a lot of those offices out to the old former Wilson Middle School building that is out along South Tillotson. Once you get out past the Martin Luther King overpass, and out past 12th Street, out past Cornbread Road, out there, we moved the Delaware County Jail out there. The Delaware County Sheriff's Department is out there. The Delaware County Prosecutor's Office is out there. The Public Defender's offices are out there. The Delaware County Clerk's Office is out there. Basically anything concerning Delaware County criminal justice at the county level. Now, we're not talking about the city. We're just talking about the county. Basically, all of that went out to the new building, and that was back in 2021. And when they did that, it left the Delaware County, or the former Justice Center, the downtown, it looks like the triangle, it left it open. And what happened was it was just there, and the county was having to pay on it and do all of this, and that's just it wasn't good. And they were, they didn't know what they were going to do with it. They said it was going to cost them over $1 million to tear down, and it was it was just not going to be a good situation. So it was what it was. At some point, the city and the county came together, and they came up with a plan to swap properties. And I forget exactly what property the county got out of this deal, but there was some property that the county got that was city property that the county wanted. It made sense with what they were doing out at the Justice Center. And then the city, in turn, took the Justice Center, which was now a vacant building in the center of downtown Muncie. And matter of fact, it was one building south of where City Hall was. And then Mayor Dan, in all of his infinite wisdom, rightly or wrongly, goodly or badly, whichever way you see it, decided to provide that building to a private company, a father and son company, which they've done a lot of good work in places, and I'm not knocking their work in other locations. I don't know that I necessarily specifically agreed with the situation with the Justice Center going the way that it did. They apparently have it up, and people are living there. It's still just, it's kind of like an unsightly building. It's not, they consider it to be high-end condos. And while it might be high-end on the inside, and I say might be, it definitely doesn't look high-end on the outside. It's not something that I would live in. If I was a doctor, say in Indianapolis or Carmel or Fishers, nothing about that building is going to attract me away from where I live to move to Muncie to live in this building. And I say might be because we've never been allowed inside. I was hoping that before they put the condos up and the people moved in, that they would do some kind of a ribbon cutting and allow people to tour, but they never did that. And the few pictures that have leaked out about this building, it it really leads a lot to be desired. It does not seem it does not seem it's just I don't know. They left the brick up, and it still looks in a lot of places like a jail cell to me. You know what I mean? I very, very, very strange. So, maybe it's like, all right, it's not on county or city tax rolls anymore. Maybe it's going to provide some help, whatever. But I do know that we covered that for a very long time, and that we did pay a lot out for it. I know. So, for example, when the city, I say, gave it to the Jennings, father and son Jennings, basically what happened is the Jennings paid $100 for it. Here's $100, City of Muncie. Dan Ridenauer took that $100 bill. He then handed them the keys and the deed to the property. It's theirs. It's yours. Have at it. Oh, by the way, because you paid us $100 for that building, here's $600,000 that the city handed over to them to help them renovate and do what they needed to do. Like that's amazing. Anytime I've ever been involved with, like, finding a place to rent or buying a home, I've never bought a property and then been given money to, like, hey, go fix this up. What an amazing thing. Like, really, really, really great. On top of that, we also were left with paying the utilities at the facility. Yes, Randy, they both do. Absolutely. Both of them do live in Henry County. The majority of the people here tonight live in Henry County, by the way. So just FYI. And also, while I broke conversation to say this one time, I just always want to caution people. Anytime a candidate running for office or an elected official doesn't want to talk out in the open and only wants to talk like one-on-one via phone call or meet me in a dark alley, always be very wary of that, because whatever you're told during that personal one-on-one meeting, it's not on the record. There's no way to prove what they said. There's no way, unless you record the conversations, which then by all means go ahead. But just always be very wary of that. Moreover, be very wary of one of these people that doesn't want to talk in the open and won't go on record and won't explain themselves to where lots of people can hear and there can be a record of what is said, because then you can always go back. If they're not willing to do that, they're not willing for your support, or they're not ready for your vote, and you should not give them either. So just an FYI. And that goes with everyone that we're talking, everything that we're talking about. So it's all good. Okay. Moving back into the conversation. So I was at first critical of this situation, still pretty critical of it. I've not seen the ways that this has improved our situation yet. Maybe one of these days they're going to drop down and be like, aha, look, this has happened. But I just wonder if there are other things that we could have done with the building that would have made more sense, that we wouldn't have to necessarily wait so long later down the road for. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, maybe we could have done other things that would have been able to get that off the tax rolls and would have benefited Muncie, Delaware County sooner. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Well, time will have to tell. But we're now at a situation where this property, the downtown jail, is now owned by a private by private people. It's owned by a father and son who are apparently renting space off to private individuals. It is no longer owned by the city, by the county. It has nothing to do with city or county government, and it basically, it is what it is. So I'm going to pop this up here and let you guys see this as we go on about this here. So I kind of just thought that we were done with everything. I kind of thought that this was like a thing that was like, okay, we've done it. It is what it is. And, we're just going to see what happens. So for everyone's knowledge, here's Muncie City Hall. Here is the what I call current old Delaware County building. There's still some offices in there, but very few. And I'm hearing different things. The city of Muncie is wanting that, I guess, for their police department. I think Stephen Brand is saying like the county's not going to get rid of it. That was last year. Maybe they will now. I know that Dan's pushing for it. Just because Dan's pushing for it doesn't mean they're going to get it. But that's the old Delaware County building. And then this triangle type of building. It's almost like if this corner was off, it would be an upside down Superman type emblem. So that's kind of what that is. That's the old jail. If you pull out of here really quickly, and you come all the way out of the city of Muncie, more or less, I mean, this is still city of Muncie land, but if you come out of here and you leave the confines of like the city part, this is still Delaware. This is still Muncie City, but here's the new Justice Center out here. Okay, this is the Justice Center. So people can see where it is, where it used to be in, the heart of the city, downtown, which made sense for anybody else from Delaware County and out that were bringing, bringing suspects to the jail, bringing defendants, criminals to the jail. Just made sense that it was in the heart. It is what it is. Okay, I just never have been okay with that decision. I'm always going to be sore about it. So it is what it is. I'll get over it. So here's the old Justice Center where it made sense. Okay, well, if we click on this this picture here and we see the Delaware County building here and we go up here, we're going to look right here and we're going to see this bell. You see this bell here that is just right out from the doors. It always made sense to have that there. So this bell was the original bell that hung in the bell tower of the old Delaware County courthouse that if anybody is born from I'd say probably 1960 or before, they will remember, because that courthouse was torn down in 1967. And it's absolutely a shame that happened. Old Delaware County Courthouse, number 3. I'm going to pull this up here and let you guys see this. Like a lot of other communities around Delaware County, the old Delaware County Courthouse was just absolutely stunning. Here's the old we're in talks with Jack Sonis to go into the first level once we get the building. Great. So here's the old courthouse. I can't say anything about it. Like, this is a work of art. This is an absolute work of art. And the fact that we decided that we shouldn't invest money into this, oh my God, every fiber of my body aches because we tore this down. I long for this Muncie. Okay. It just is absolutely heartbreaking to me knowing that this is gone. Okay. And so just absolutely crazy. Okay. So the bell hung up here in the bell tower. Well, absolutely, Alva. Just a beautiful building, and to look at these older cars that were parked along this here being Main Street. It's Jackson or 32. So let me see. I can tell from the buildings here. So that building is still there, I believe. It always gets me turned around. Anyways, this is an amazing building. So they tore this down in 1967 rather than to put any money into it, any funding. And what we got instead of that building was this amazing piece of art. It was beauty, one of America's castles. Yes, Tim, that's exactly correct. And we tore it down and totally destroyed it for this amazing work of art here. Timeless and classy and amazing and lovely. I don't know. Totally nuts. Okay, so it is what it is. Let me see here. I just want to look here to double check. I am pretty certain that the corner we were on, looking at the old Justice Center, from that picture, I think we were at this corner. So if you're imagining in that old picture, oops, that's a little weird, wonky. No, we'll go back here. Yeah, I think if we're looking here, I'm pretty sure we're right there. If you're looking there, that's the same corner that we're on here. And I don't know if I'm sure my grandparents are watching, but if you could text my phone or even put it in the comments and say, yes, I think this is the way we're looking. So this is the corner that we're on here. And to look at it here, I think this is the corner. This is like if we were looking at the same building, that's what it would be. Okay, that doesn't really matter. What matters here is if we go here and we come back to the Justice Center, you can see here's the new, this is not what the jail used to look like. They tore out all the small windows and it's now a luxury apartment building or something like that. Here's the bell, okay? And I haven't heard a bunch of talk about this. I hadn't heard, a whole lot of discussion about anything going on until the Delaware County Commissioners meeting, which occurred on Monday the 16th, which really blew me away because I thought they wouldn't have been in session because that was a President's Day. So it shocked me that they were there. Yes, that was. We did get the okay that we were looking at the right spot. That's what I thought. So they met yesterday. I guess the Delaware County building was open. I didn't know that, but that's my fault. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and listen to this.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for getting that going. Now we have the addendum to the lease agreement. Muncie.
BW. Option is to stop using those areas. Client services, a scope of services plan to get those analyzed and asking for permission, get the permits and do all that stuff is on county property. And
Okay, here we go.
architectural sculpture, a structure or something where that bell, this bell had language in it that allowed them to make improvements with our permission. They're basically asking for permission per the original language in the lease and the language in the lease. Proof, second.
Here we
Roll
go.
call, please.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you.
So the next item is the courthouse bell. This bell currently sits on property that's not owned by Delaware County. It's next door at the apartments. The owners of that land, they're asking if we can relocate it. They're not telling us, but they would like to put up an architectural sculpture, a structure or something where that.
Okay. So we've got a situation where we have a private property that is now owned by private individuals. And on that private property, this was, in my opinion, this was a massive oversight by the Delaware County commissioners of back then. So we're talking, well, two of the three that's currently there, Sherry Riggin, Shannon Henry, and James King. When they did this deal, when they vacated the building, honestly, in my mind, I have no clue why they wouldn't have said, we're vacating this, we're going out, and we're going to move this bell out to the Justice Center. They could have done that. That would have been, it would have made sense. They could have figured out a way to do it. And I have no idea why they didn't do that. Okay, so they didn't do it then. All right. An oversight. It just sat there. It's going to be county property, no big deal. But then they decide to give it to the city of Muncie. And when they decide to give that property to the city of Muncie, for the love of God, why did they not then say, wait a minute, we're going to give you this property, but we're going to take our bell first and we're going to relocate it. Okay? Relocate it to the old county building, relocate it to the Justice Center. But again, alas, they put their hands up their backsides and they just sat there and did nothing. So then the city of Muncie, it's not Delaware County. It has no, in my opinion, it should care about Delaware County history and Delaware County historical artifacts. But they have no claim to the bell. They don't care about the bell. They've got their own building. Their building never had a bell. Whatever. It just goes with the property. So Dan sells the property as is to what would have been just an absolute disaster. What would have been an absolute disaster is if the Jennings would have just scrapped that. Now, I know enough about the Jennings to know that they're not, while the people that we've been dealing with thus far have been in somewhat idiots, the Jennings, I might not agree with everything that's going on with them, but I know that they wouldn't have scrapped it. As such, it's still where it is. They are now not telling. They now are not telling the Delaware County commissioners, hey, you need to move this. You got to relocate this. We want it off. They're just saying, like, we would like it to be because we would like to put something here. Okay. So that's what's going on. So then we'll listen to this.
Bell sits, and it would be nice to get this thing back on county property. And Commissioner Riggin had identified a spot where the right outside the main entrance here, where that flower bed is, that circular flower bed. And this is a proposal from the Jenny.
Okay, now I want to show you where they're talking about moving it. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's right here. Now we're going to pan across the street. Okay, so we're gonna come across the street here, and we're going to actually pop down here, pop around the corner. Same building. Okay, we'll show you here. So you can see over here is the old Justice Center. Matter of fact, if you look through, you can't see it because the tree's in the way. But if this tree was not there, that bell sits right here. So you can see it from this location. So if we turn our heads and we look, from what I'm gathering, from what Steven said there is this little flower thing around here that's out here. They're going to move that bell somewhere to this location, like maybe right around here or right around here, somewhere right around here. So that's not at the end of the block down there, okay? And they're not moving it to the end of the block here. So they're moving it from like middle of the block there to like middle of the block here. And by looking this up, okay, by looking at this and looking at this, a city block in Muncie is about 900 feet. So this bell is going to move approximately 900 feet. Okay. Just wanted to, oh, you guys can't see anything. I've been looking at that the whole time and you guys can't see what the hell I'm talking about. Sorry. That was my bad. Haha. Sorry. So right here, if you look here, I get what you're saying. Want to show us. Haha. I get it. Okay, so here's the Justice Center. Okay, and you can't see it because right here's this tree, but right behind the tree is the bell. And if we turn our heads over here and we look, either somewhere in this grassy area, either right here, somewhere around here, somewhere here is where they're going to move it. So it's not at the end of that block down there. And like I said, they're not moving it to the end of the block here. They're moving it from about the middle of the block there to middle of the block here. So it's about 900 feet they're moving it. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. Now we'll go back to the commissioners meeting and hear what's happening here.
Family. We don't have any other proposals or quotes.
So they are telling the county, we will move it for you. We will move it for you, is what they're telling you.
They're not telling us, but they would like to put up an architectural sculpture, a structure or something where that bell sits. And it would be nice to get this thing back on county property. And
I agree with
Reagan
Brand.
Had identified a spot where
It would be good
right
to
outside
get this
the
back.
main
We should have.
entrance
It
here
should
where
never
that,
have been released.
flower
Should never
bed
been
is,
put in
that
someone else.
circular flower bed. And this is a proposal from the Jennings family. We don't have any other proposals or quotes. This complete moving bonded preparation of the new area and getting it moved over with lighting. They have a flat price of $22,000. The labor's $7,500. The equipment's $5,000. Materials $5,500, and administrative to get the permits and do all that stuff is the balance of the $22,000. So, but again, this is the only proposal we have right now.
22,000 for this. Now, look, I'm not in construction. I talked to somebody today that is in that world, and they said that they could do it for less than 22. I don't have a problem with this as it is. Like, this is kind of like the early voting situation. I don't have a problem with this as it is. I want the bell back. We need the bell back. Here's what I have a problem with.
I don't think that's too far off. But
I appreciate Brand saying, like, we've got this proposal. This is the only proposal that we have, though. And Brand was clear about that, okay? And then the conversation starts.
detailed. And I don't think we have to get any quotes under 50,000 from much pleasure.
Well, I'd also say one advantage to using them is, if we bring in an independent contractor and they're taking stuff off their property, there's a little bit of liability there. If they're the ones taking it off their property, then they'll remove it and leave it how they see fit. And if we wanted to do this, we could do this out of edit project number 12.
Motion to approve.
Second.
No discussion. No,
Yeah.
here, and this is why the county screws this up every time. And I gave them hell last year, and I talked to Brand, and Brand said, I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to fight to change this. I'm going to fight to, when I'm president, things are going to be different. And I hope that's true. He's not been president. I don't know why he's not president now. Sherry shouldn't be president. I am absolutely going to say that this is where they screw up. And I'm going to say all three of these people on the TV screw up. They need to allow public comment like the city does before they vote. And I'm telling you right now, this is one thing I have an issue with Brand on. I know he's not in favor of that. I know that what I'm hearing is from people. I'm hearing this from folks connected to the Republican Party, to the city of Muncie, is that part of the conversation around, and if Brand wants to contact me and tell me that this is wrong and he wants to, I'll reach out to him and even find this out, I guess. But I'm hearing that one thing that Brand is for is streamlining. Now, I know that he's very concerned about, or says that he's concerned about people's rights and things like that. And I'm less concerned about streamlining meetings, and I'm more concerned about allowing public input. And so allowing public input on things like this might be beneficial. They're going to pay it out of edit. The county doesn't seem to be at least currently, as wasteful as with edit that the city is. But I would have liked them to at least offer this out and take bids. They could have taken bids on this. And I think the law for the bids, though, is if it's 50,000 or more. So I think if something is under 50,000, I think that they don't. I don't really know right then. I'm going to have to go back and read that. I used to be able to pop that off really quickly, and then Audi used to handle that, but we haven't had to deal with it in a while. So I think there's something there. But $22,000 for the government, and that's not a lot of money. They're not nearly as wasteful as the city is. And I know that Brand is trying to stop as much of that as possible, and I appreciate that. I just wish Shannon was just right there. I mean, Shannon and Sherry want to get these meetings over in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We just don't want to hear it. I would have liked to have had discussion about this. The history is important. I want the bell back. If we could get it for cheaper than $22,000, I would like to have done that. Makes sense to do it. But it is what it is. We're paying for it. And I'll be honest, I don't believe that they should move it to the county building. That's the other issue that I have. I think if they're going to move it, they need to move it to the Justice Center, because whether or not we get rid of the county building this year, 2 years, 5 years, we are getting rid of this county building at some point. And so to move this to a place that it's just going to need to be moved again, to me, doesn't make any sense. Move it to the Justice Center. The Justice Center is going to be where it's at. That's not moving for some time, not in our lives anyways. So I was a little put off. They vote on this.
Commissioner Henry. Yes. Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you.
They all three voted on it, passed. So there you go. $22,000. Not bad. It could be better. It could definitely be worse, but what say you all on that move? I'm not a big fan, just because the other thing about the bids here, I think this is a little bit different because this is not something that the county specifically did. I think what happened here was, because currently the county doesn't own that bell. The owners of the bell currently are private people, and the private people are saying, hey, we have the means to do this. We want to give it to you guys, and we want to move it. We'll do it for $22,000. And so I think I will look into this and find out. I don't believe Brand would have done anything that wouldn't have been T's crossed and I's dotted as far as that. I think if it totally 1,000% would have required 3 bids, they would have done it. I think because of the way that it's happening, going from private to this, the way they can do it out of edit, which edit is their slush fund, basically, they can do what they want with. I think it's a little bit different. We'll see what happens. But I'm all for the history. I want it. We should have had it. It was, I'm mad at the commissioners of the past. James King, Shannon Henry, Sherry Riggin, they dropped the ball when they didn't move this to begin with. And so that's why we are where we are now. If we would have moved this 5 years ago, it would have been cheaper than $22,000. I promise you. Well, maybe not, because King, Shannon, and Sherry would have been doing it. So maybe they would have paid some family member $100,000 to do it. So, I guess who the hell knows? But that's where we are, and we will see what goes on from here. We will continue to follow this, and I'll reach out to Brand and pick his mind. And I will give you guys a follow-up on this here in the near future. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us to the Indiana House Bill 1359, Amendment 2, early voting discussion. And so I want to make sure that everybody is aware of what this is as we start to talk about this. I'm going to put this up here on the screen. 59. Scanning ballots is what this House bill is about. And let me put it up here so you guys can see it. Whoops. Okay, can you guys read that? Let's take a look at what we're seeing here. Specifies a process, by which certain counties may scan voted optical scan ballot cards during the early voting period and on election day without using secrecy envelopes. Makes conforming amendments, reduces the period during which a person absentee voting, reduces the period during which in-person absentee voting may occur at the office of the circuit court clerk or satellite office from 28 days to 16-day period ending at noon on the day before election day. Okay, this is the bill that was put forward. And let me see here what we've got going on here. House, Senate sponsor Gaskill, referred to Senate, first reading committee, elections. So let me see what we've got here. Authored by Rhett Wesco. First reading, referred to committee elections, introduced version. Okay. Committee report, amend, do pass, adopted. Second reading, ordered, engrossed. Third reading, passed. It was a roll call of 81 to 71. Roll call, 81, which was 71 yays and 20 nays. Okay. So, Senate, let's see here. Let's see what this is. Let's see who didn't vote for this. So, not voting, there were 3 not voting. Excused, there were 6 excused, 20 nays, and 71 yays. Let's see here. Okay, let me show you. I'll put that up on the screen so you guys can see her. Okay, here's what happened in the House. Okay. There's what we've got going. All right, going back to the IGA website. Referred to Senate. First reading, referred to Committee on Elections. Senate Rogers added a second sponsor. Committee report, amend, do pass, adopted. And that was on the 16th. What is next for this? Let's see when this will be up for its second. We'll do go home. Let's see. Tomorrow. Okay. Senate session. Yeah, right here. So it's up for tomorrow. They will be. This is on for a second reading tomorrow. So second reading will be tomorrow for this bill, and hopefully there will be some discussion. So here's what this is. For all of the people who are like, well, what does this matter to real people? What does anybody care about this? Here's the deal. Okay. This is what the situation is. Currently, in the state of Indiana, when an election day, like, for example, the election day this year is Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. Okay. That means Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. That means on April 6th, the voting registration ends. If you're not registered to vote by April 6th, it's done. On April 7th, Tuesday, April 7th, my grandmother's birthday, early voting begins. And you or me or anyone who's registered to vote in the state of Indiana can walk into our county clerk's office and say that we are wanting to vote, and they will have the machines set up. They will have the people working, and people can go vote. And listen, some elections, early voting is busy. Early voting is busy from day one through. The last couple of elections, it's been like that. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's a trickle. You get one or two people. And they're paying people to man these booths during this time. So what this amendment and what this bill is actually wanting to do now is say that we're going to cut this down from the current 28 days, and we're wanting to cut it to 16. I am not against cutting early voting to 16 days because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I am not a fan of early voting. I used to be all about it. This is something I've changed about. I used to be all in favor of early voting. Go get people to vote. Go get people to vote. Go get people to vote. Go get people to vote early. But then I interviewed Jeff Maurer, the Libertarian candidate for Indiana Secretary of State back in 2022. And he was like, there's too many things that can happen. There's too many bad things that can happen here. So, for example, if somebody votes early and they go cast their ballot on day one of early voting and they're hit and smashed by a train 3 days later, the clerk's office has the ability to go in and find their vote and backdoor removing it. And as Jeff said, if they can go in and backdoor removing a dead person's vote, what's to stop them from going in and backdoor removing a live person's vote or several live people's votes? We would never know. We'd have no way of knowing. The other issue is absentee. This also includes absentee voting, mailing your absentee voter in. I do this with my grandparents all the time. Help them with this all the time. They do it, and it's wonderful. We stick it in the mailbox, and there it goes. I just talked to an individual who's very politically involved, a young kid Monday rather. The guy that helped us with Catherine's thing, the guy that went in, Seth Shook. He is a college student, and he voted in November in the general election. He voted absentee. But when he pulls up his voter history, and anyone can pull your voter history up, all you have to do is it's not something you can find online. You have to send it into the clerk's office and request this, and they will send you your voter history. I can pull up any of your voter history. I can go to Randolph County and tell them I want Kate Thornburg's voter history, and they'll provide it to me. Simple as that. It's public record. People don't know that. Now, it doesn't tell you who you vote for, but it tells if you voted in the last election, if you voted in the primary, and if you voted in the primary, did you pull a Republican or a Democrat ballot? That's what it tells you. Well, he pulled his voter history, and lo and behold, he did not vote in the general election. They show that he didn't vote, but he did vote. He did vote. So they were saying, like, is there something that we can do about this? And I was like, yeah, don't early vote. And Catherine's like, but he's a college kid. And I'm like, I said, yeah, I know. It depends on how much this is important to you. This is what my statement is, and it has been since I interviewed Jeff. Never early vote. Always go in on Tuesday, election day, and cast your ballot. If you need help, you can take someone, they can help you. They can't stop you. You're free to do that. If you're elderly, if you can get out and you can get there, even if you need help, vote in person on the day. Do it. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it should be done. That's the way it needs to be done. That is your best way. Listen, folks, it very well could possibly be messed with if you do it that way. But that is the absolute best way to make sure that shit works. Because going in early and doing it or voting by mail, there's all kinds of flubs that could happen that way. So if there's any possible way you can walk in on the day and vote. Unless you just absolutely can't. Unless you just absolutely can't. It's not an excuse. Listen, we used to vote. We used to not have all this nonsense. That it's like we shouldn't have just voting is all year long. We just vote all year long. We're just always in voting election cycle. Listen, you're wanting to put excuses. You're wanting to take away the excuses for the election workers and for the people in office, but give the excuses to the voter. I want to take the excuses away from the voter and say, you go do your job. Let us then ensure that they're doing their job. But the number one thing is, if you want to ensure to the best of your ability that the shit's going to count, shit's going to work, go on voting day. If you can't, then your next thing is vote in person. Vote early in person. Go as close to election day as possible. Don't go on the 7th of April. Don't go the first day. I used to do that. I used to be the very first person there to vote. I'd be the very first person voting. Who knows how many of those votes got changed or messed up or whatever. You know what I mean? So vote in person on the day, unless you just absolutely can't. Then the only thing you can do is early in-person voting, because voting in person is better than anything else. Unless you can't do that. Then if you can't do that, do the mail-in. But so many people who have said, oh, I don't need to even leave the house. I can just do this by mail. Used to, you couldn't early vote unless you were older than 65 or you were somehow an invalid, or, you had an absolute, you were going to be out of your voting area on the day of, and you could prove it. Used to, you couldn't just, everybody didn't early vote. Then bang, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, they were like, there you go. Everybody gets to vote by mail and early vote. Militaries, listen, there are people that have to do mail-in ballots. I get it. And it sucks. And to all of the people that are in the military serving that say, hey, I still need to vote, kick ass. I very much appreciate you doing that. And to all of the college kids that are everywhere out there that can't get back, you're in college more than a state away. Listen, if somebody is talking about being in, I'm at Purdue or I'm in any, you could do it. And that's still hard. If you got to early vote by mail, you got to do it. I'm just saying, everybody that can possibly vote on the day of needs to do it. Period. That's just the simple answer. So this situation here, I would like to hear more from Mike who's pushed this. I would like to hear, the thoughts. And obviously, it's a money cost-saving issue. I mean, that's the thing. I get it. But I would like to hear the pros and the cons before this is just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, passed because we're the Republicans and we say so. As a conservative, as a right-leaning Republican-ish conservative libertarian, or a right-leaning libertarian-ish conservative Republican, whatever you want to call me, the Republicans like to just jam the shit through without giving the sides to this. So I will be following the second vote. I will be following the third vote. I mean, I don't think anything gets taken away if they cut this in half by 16. And I'm in agreement with what Catherine said, have longer days but shorter length of time. I'm okay with that. Maybe doing 10-hour day, a 12-hour day, maybe doing 4 12-hour days a week leading up to it for like 2 weeks, something like that. We just have to look. That's why discussion on these things are very important. Okay.
It's everybody's focused on the early voting part of this bill,
Yeah.
the amendment they tagged on.
Mm.
The bill itself is talking about privacy envelopes.
Yeah.
And some counties don't need to use those. Isn't the privacy envelope what the voters sign?
So what they're talking about is in this bill. I'm glad you brought that up.
Because that's the part that's the bill.
Yeah.
Not
well,
the amendment.
it looks like the amendment has been something's happened, because it doesn't look like there's an amendment now. It looks like they've just squished this into the bill somehow. Because look at this again. I'm going to pull this up here and look at what happens. First of all, it no longer shows a second amendment. And
What?
Look.
Under Senate amendments?
Oh.
Over there on the left.
Yeah. Yep. Shows one amendment.
This
Shows
was amendment number 2, though, wasn't
amendment
it?
1. Yep. And look at the bill. Specifies a process by which certain counties may scan voted optical scan ballot cards during the early voting period and on election day without using secrecy envelopes. Makes conforming amendments, reduces the period during which the in-person absentee voting may occur at the office of the circuit court clerk or satellite office from 28 days to 16-day period ending at noon on the day before the election day. It's now there in the bill.
That is so weird, because if you open up Amendment 1, read it.
Okay, so motion 1 now squishes like Amendment 2 into... that's weird. I don't understand that.
Yeah. That's the 28 to 16.
Yeah.
I thought that was Amendment 2.
Because I used to have, let me see if I still have the picture.
Committee amendments. Oh, okay, hold on. So it's Senate Amendment number 1, but it is Amendment number 2 to the bill.
Where do you see that?
So go to committee amendments, right? Is that where I was at? No. Shit. Yeah, committee amendments.
Yeah, I've got it here.
See, amendment number 1 is in the House.
Yeah. Okay.
Amendment number 2 is in the Senate. So it's amendment number 2 to the bill, but it's amendment number 1 in the Senate.
Yeah, here we go. Early voting reduces the period during. Yeah.
I hate this website.
Yeah, it's even for the people who use it frequently, it is not user friendly. Absolutely. Very strange.
So anyway, what about this
So
privacy envelope stuff.
yeah, okay. So the privacy envelope, for people that specifically for people that mail in ballot, you get the ballot, you fill it in your little Scantron, and then you stick that in a what's called a secrecy envelope, so the ballot is covered. And on the back side of it, it has two initials. It has the initials of a Republican and initials of a Democrat. And then you stick that in the envelope and you mail the envelope back signed, and you mail that back. So you don't sign the secrecy envelope, but then they take that secrecy envelope out. And here's the thing. That's why I always tell people, when you get that mail-in ballot, you got to make sure that that is initialed by both people, because if it only has one set of initials, they don't count that vote. There's lots of people that mail that in and they miss them all the time. It happens all the time. So you always have to check that. So what they're saying, it seems like, is they're going to scan those without the secrecy. I would like some explanation to what this is. So I'm going to make some calls tomorrow, because they're going to be voting on the second reading tomorrow. So I'm going to call and find out exactly what this is. I have a pretty good relationship with Wesco, and so we'll see how that goes. I'll try to get a hold of him early and see what happens with that, because I would like some follow up. I would like some follow up to this. For those of you that don't recall, Wesco is the guy that kind of looks like Eddie Munster. Okay. And so I think he's from up north. But I have a pretty good relationship speaking with him. So we'll try to find out what exactly this is, what they're saying. And it will be going for second vote tomorrow. That's fine. We'll be able to give you an update on this tomorrow, and we'll go from there. So I'll let you know. Like I said, I'm torn about this. Catherine's running against Gaskill. This is not something that I'm coming out and bashing Gaskill over the head about. This could be a good bill. Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. So Gaskill could make something that makes sense and do something that makes sense. But it's like, whoa, you've finally done this after the 3 times you've been there. Like, maybe it's time for you to not be there if you're only hitting, that's a very piss poor batting average. So I'm not a big fan of Gaskill. I'm supporting Catherine, obviously, in this race. And so it is what it is, but it doesn't mean that he's necessarily wrong on this. And it doesn't mean I'm against it. I'm not necessarily for it. I just want to hear more about it. And I've not seen anything where they're going out and giving any information. But it's like most of the bills they pass. They're not talking about these. They're just passing them through, and we find it out once it's already been done to us. So I'll give you guys a follow-up on this tomorrow, and we will go from there. I know that you guys have been saying things about it. I will also go back and read your comments after the show's over. And if there's anything big in here that I've missed, I will comment or add that into or talk about it tomorrow on the follow-up when I give you guys a little bit of information about what goes on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing the big one now. Moving on to moving on to the Henry County Sheriff's Department records, Bell and Gulley. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the one. If you are there from Henry County, please get ready. Let everyone else know. If they're not here, get in front of the TV, the computer, the laptop, the phone, or whatever, and let's get ready to rock and roll. So yesterday was Tuesday, and I was all set to go to the Henry County Sheriff's Department and start my long process of looking into these videos and doing all of this. And I get there, and first off, Josh Smith is not there. I don't know where he was. No big deal. Stacy Guffey was there. And listen, I've been pretty critical of Guffey since he's been back in the Sheriff's Department under Sproles. Guffey and I were always friendly. But I've been I was critical of him when he left the coroner's office because he was supposed to be repairing it, but he got the job, and then he abandoned the job. So I had a problem with that. And then I have been very critical of him as a jail commander. I've been very critical of his support of Sproles and appearing to be kissing his ass and just, going for it. Like, dude, all of this shit runs downhill on you guys if you don't realize this. For as critical as I have been of him, he was stand up yesterday. Okay. He was very professional. I appreciate his demeanor. I appreciate the way that he attempted to do whatever he could to help me. So I want to say that first and foremost. I'm very thankful that he was cool. Everything was good. First up, they said, let's go through the Bell stuff. Okay. So before we got started, okay, I went there under the impression and going by all of the emails that any one of them said to me, they said, you can come get it. After you look at what you're getting, you can request whatever you want. And then they sent the email that said, you can't record while you're viewing it. Remember, we talked about this. I didn't think that was right because I was able to over the Marquette Neal stuff, yada, yada, yada. So before we started the viewing of the Bell material, Guffey says, Stacy Guffey says to me, now, you're not going to be able, we're going to show this to you, but you're not going to be able to record this. And I've seen that. I'm going to start looking into that. Absolutely. There's so much crazy shit with sex offenders going on in Randolph County. It's kind of hard to keep track, but I am kind of taking a look at that. So he said, you cannot record this with your material, and we're going to let you see this, but you can't request it until after the criminal case has completed. And I was like, what? Why? And they tell me that they've talked to the prosecutor's office and they've talked to the Henry County attorney, and they said because there is still criminal proceedings, criminal charges filed against Brian Bell, and because it will have to possibly go to court, that it's still considered an investigative law in record. And I will tell you that he is 100% by that. It sucks and I hate it, but he's 100% right. They, by law, could have even said they're not going to show it to me. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they let me see it. And here's the thing. Because Eric says, well, that's odd. Police videos are released to news outlets all the time while cases are pending. And that's right. It's at their discretion. They are able to release it if they so choose, or they can hold it if they don't want to, or if they don't want to do it. I think that they realize that because there's so much scrutiny to this, that this is probably going to be a legal fight. They've made the decision to not let me or anyone else have it to push out there to the public. I hate that. I hate it. There's nothing I can do. My hands are tied. There's no fight I can fight. I can't issue a complaint against them. And see, I would lose that. Whatever what's the saying? 12 ways to Sunday or whatever. I would lose it every time I filed it. So there's nothing I can do. I will tell you, reference the Bell situation. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos. Okay. There's the video from Newcastle that we've already watched, and it was damning in and of itself. Okay, Newcastle said, release it, we're out of it, we're done. There were 6 videos that the Henry County Sheriff's deputies provided. And those videos are, and I'm going to tell you in the order, a body camera from Deputy Peck. I don't know who this guy is. A Deputy Peck body camera. And that's Peck 1 is what they call it. Peck, with just Peck, no number, was a video of him following the plainclothes deputy and Brian to the jail. So that's there. Then there's a video labeled Strelecki. That's Deputy Strelecki. That's his body camera from when he got there. Then there's a video called Yukonavage, which that's Deputy Yukonavage, and that's his body camera as he was driving there. Then there's a camera called Peck at Jail, and that shows Peck and his body camera while he was at the jail. And then there's a video called Bell Inside Jail. And that's a video of Bell inside the jail, Brian Bell. The one thing that I knew before I went to this was there were 3 on-duty uniformed deputies that went to the scene. There were 2 off-duty deputies on scene there who caused it. There was 1 on-duty Newcastle officer on scene, and there was 1 state trooper, okay, ISP in uniform on scene. So removing the 2 deputies that were not on duty and in plain clothes, that is a total of 5 uniformed officers who were working their duty. They were out driving and working, patrolling. And when the off-duty deputy arrived, when the off-duty deputy made this traffic stop and then called for backup, these 5 uniformed officers had to drive to the scene. Now, we're going to talk about that in just a second. The first thing I want to mention is the need for something to change with the way that at least Henry County operates with its body camera. They don't have dash cams. So when a call is activated and the body camera is turned on, first of all, a very horrible situation is the body camera is muted. The audio is muted for like at least 30 seconds, maybe a minute. So you don't hear any audio. And remember, I showed you this with the Newcastle because people's like, it's muted. And I'm like, no, it's just a situation with the body cam. That is an oversight that needs to be fixed or addressed. That audio needs to come on at the exact same second that the video cuts on, because there are a lot of things that you miss in that 30 seconds that could be very, very important. Surely other people have complained about this. You have to understand, when I was a police officer, body cameras were very new. Okay. And so there were only people, like few and far people between had them. They were not mandatory, and lots of departments didn't even have body cams. Some of the departments had like 1 or 2, or, you know, they would get like 1 per shift or something like that. So I'm not in the world of body cams. That's not something I ever screwed with. So that's a big problem I have. Number 2, 1, 2, 3. I watched 3 body camera videos where one body camera video might have been 7 minutes long. And of that 7 minutes, 4 minutes of it, 5 minutes of it, just showed the officer driving. And when it shows him driving, it doesn't show out the window what you're seeing. It shows the steering column. It shows the officer's arm and the officer's computer. It does not show outside of the police car. So it does no good being on. Now, if something happened, if the officer wrecked or something, like it would show the inside of the wreck, but it wouldn't show what they hit or how they hit or why they hit. So they either need to have that camera somehow higher in the dash so it shows, and then they grab it off and put it on, or they need to have dash cams too. Because I watched all three, Peck, Strelecki, and Yukonavage. And a large part of the video was just them driving. So, and people might be like, well, that's good because we get to see, like, you know, if they're breaking laws or whatever. Nope, you don't get to see any of that, because literally the only thing you're seeing is the inside of the cop car. The inside of the cop car. Matter of fact, let me show you here just briefly. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. When did that happen? Okay. Let me see if I have this here. Oh, yeah, right here. This is perfect. Okay, I'll show you right here. This is the video camera from the Newcastle police officer on the deal. This is what you see. 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Okay, this is what you see. For the first little bit, he's just driving. That's all. Tell me how this affects anybody. We can see up here at the top. He just tell me how this helps anybody. You're able to see, if you're familiar with Newcastle, you're able to see, yep, he just went under 70. But unless an airplane's flying over you and drops something from the sky or something stupid happens, you can't see anything. Period. It is stupid. This is stupid. This camera should be up. I'm just saying. To me, this, you know, it's good when he gets out and the action's going. But, you know, what happens if there's a car accident and you're needing this to show what, you know, I'm just saying that's a bad thing. Now, it does, it does something very interesting. And that's where I'm going to start with my complaint. So, first and foremost, something that I noticed with Deputy Peck, Deputy Strelecki, and Deputy Yukonavage. The video starts on all of them, and they're in the car, and there's like 30 seconds of silence, or however long that is. Then the video sound kicks in. And all three of these deputies were driving lights and sirens. Keep in mind, they don't know what this is. They don't know. None of these officers know if this is a murder suspect, if a deputy just saw somebody murder somebody. They have no idea what this call is. All they know is they're being dispatched to an officer needs assistance. When you get called to the officer needs assistance call, that's a pretty serious call. And officers, deputies, troopers tend to drive fast. You're driving with lights and sirens. You're driving fast because you don't know what the hell's going on. Now, as Kate said, why does the name Strelecki and Yukonavage sound familiar? Well, both of those were the guys that were involved in the different pursuits. Strelecki, I think, was the guy that was involved in the pursuit that came to Delaware County, driving crazy, and someone died as a result of. And Yukonavage, maybe I have it backwards. Maybe it's Yukonavage that did that. But one of them was involved in the pursuit to Muncie, and the other was in the pursuit to Indianapolis. Both were pursuits where someone died. Both pursuits were far outside of Henry County. Both pursuits were extremely questionable. So just for the record, that's how you know both of those names. The name Peck, I don't recognize that name. I don't know who he is or what the deal is. So it is just what it is. But the one thing that I can tell you about all these videos, and the one thing that I think the Henry County commissioners, the Henry County Council, hopefully the new Henry County Sheriff, whoever that may be, will consider is putting a policy in place that kind of dictates what off-duty action can happen. Now, as a former police officer, I can tell you you're on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. And if shit hits the fan, you can act. And I don't care what policy the county acts, you'll do it. But they need to say, like, we're not going to make stupid bullshit maneuvers to do minor nonsense things on minor infractions. We're not going to pull people over to tell them that they were being dumb. Okay, that's what the officer said. I was pulling them over to let them know that they were being dumb. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that. We're not doing that. Okay, because this deputy off duty felt like he needed to pull these people over and tell them that they were being dumb, and then it didn't go the way he thought it would go or whatever was happening. He then calls in a call for officer in need of assistance. And now you have a trooper, a Newcastle police officer, and 3 deputies driving Signal 10 lights and sirens. And I'm telling you, when we get these videos, it's going to be a while, but when we get them, I'm going to play them for you. And we will recount this very moment. We'll play it and everything for you. Signal 100 is quiet. No, that's quiet. It's been a minute. Signal 10 is lights and sirens. When these people are running this, I'm telling you, you can hear how fast they're driving. Like literally, it was going. I mean, it was insane. Yeah, right. Well, yeah. They were driving so fast. And I know it's because, listen, they thought they were, who knows what they thought they were going to. And I'll tell you, by looking at each of these videos, I think that these, at least the 3 deputies, seem to be pissed off. They seem to be upset that this is what this is. This is all this was. You asshole. When you hear it, you're going to be like, yep, Bilbrey was spot on, because that's what it was. And I'm just thinking, listen, there's no, one of the most scary times for a police officer, police department, liability wise, is when the officer is running with their lights and sirens on. Because when you flip your lights and sirens on, if you hit somebody, if you cause an accident, if something bad happens, boy, that is a lawsuit and a half. Might even be 2 lawsuits. Might even be 2 lawsuits and a half. It's a big deal. Big deal. Okay? And I just noticed that, like, some of these videos were like 10 minutes long. And now I'm totally making that number up. I did not. I should have wrote this down. I should have wrote this down. I didn't. That's my oversight. Maybe I can when I go back in. But let's just say I'm just making this number up. I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm just saying that I'm using this as an example. The video is 10 minutes long, And 7 minutes of the video is the officer driving outrageous speeds. Outrageous speeds. Fast to get to the scene. And so I'm thinking like, dude, these people are coming from all over the county. And I just heard Peck, Strelecki, and Yukonavage. There's no video for the trooper, and we saw the little bit of the Newcastle police, and he was driving fast, but it wasn't crazy fast because he was close by. But the 3 deputies, and I listen, and the Henry County Sheriff's Department has a really bad they're on the hook for a lot of accidents. Their driving ability is not very good. They all need to go back to remedial evoc school because their emergency vehicle operations is not good. So that's the first thing I noticed. The first thing that I noticed was this idiot off-duty deputy had 3 of his fellow deputies running balls to the wall, hot, lights and sirens, signal 10. They could have wrecked. They could have wrecked and died. They could have wrecked and hurt somebody else. God forbid one of these deputies would have wrecked and been seriously injured or died for this nonsense that happened in Newcastle back in the 80s with the Henry County deputy. See, I'm just telling you, it's that's the first thing that thought to my mind was for this dumb shit, for this stupid shit of a call. All right, that's the first thing. So the next thing I know is Peck gets out, and Peck is really the only one that matters. Peck gets there and gets up to the car that he's in, that Brian is in. Brian's already handcuffed. And Thrasher is in the car, the lieutenant, this other second plainclothes deputy, Lieutenant Thrasher was there. And you can hear that Bell is saying, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit, man. Bullshit." He's not yelling. He's not screaming at the top of his lungs. He's just reiterating the fact that this is bullshit. That's right, Jack. That's absolutely right. But what's interesting to me is Thrasher says something to the effect, Bell says, "You punched me in my face," and then says something to the effect of, "We've got it all on video." And Thrasher says, something to the effect of, "I don't care what bullshit you have on video," or "I don't care what you've got on video," or "Bullshit, it doesn't matter what you've got on video." More or less telling him like, "Hey, look, it don't matter. It doesn't matter, man. Like we've already got it together. It don't matter." So I just think that's interesting. Really, that's the only one that matters. From there, Strelecki and Yukonavage, everything that we see on their body cams, we've already seen on the Newcastle PD's body cam. What I would like to do, and I'm going to get all of these when we can, but I would like to put Peck's body camera up with the Newcastle PD's and put them in time together and look at them and hear the audio coming, because I think that would give us a better explanation of what Thrasher is saying to Brian Bell at the time. The other video of Bell inside the jail just shows Bell has calmed down by this point. And there's a couple things or requests that he makes that the other Haskets, the other deputy, the plainclothes deputy, the first one that pulled him over, is just kind of a dick about. He's like, no, I think Bell asked him if he'll take a picture of his shoes because his shoes got like muddy, ruined. And he's like, will you take pictures of my shoes? And I think Bell was like, no, kind of a dick about it. But then he's standing in there, and Bell does ask him, like Sproles said, Bell does say, hey, can I shake your hand, man to man? Can I shake your hand? And he shakes his hand, but he didn't admit that he was wrong. There's nothing on body camera. There's nothing on video where you hear Bell saying, oh, well, we were fighting over money. Maybe he told him that privately on the way, but it's not. There's nothing on video. Bell does shake his hand, and I don't think that means anything. I think that just simply means Bell's being a man. They do shake hands. It is what it is. But there's nothing in those videos that do anything more to the case or help the case out in any way. The main thing that it shows is how this such a simple, stupid ass decision on Haskett's call put a bunch of people in danger. And Bell's doing all right. They've got an attorney. They're fighting this, and they're gonna do what they need to do here. And I hope for the best outcome. And I'm still trying to see about other video in the area. I'm not having a lot of luck with that, but if we can find something, I will share it with you guys as soon as possible. But unfortunately, we don't get to see these videos until at least the criminal side of this is done. And it sucks, but it is what it is. But I'm telling you, the sheriff's deputies, the county, if I were county commissioners, county council, I'd go in just to watch these videos to see how fast they were driving. And I would, it's a liability. It was a liability. It's a definite liability. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to move on to Gulley. And I want you to understand. Oh no, that Bell's the first guy that was in the video. You're talking about Gulley. Gulley is the young man that was beat and was on life support, and he's still hanging in there. There's not been a whole lot of change from what I've heard, but he's just they're still asking for a lot of prayers. And Nick Gulley is the one that we're going to be talking about now. So we go on to Nick Gulley, and this one he said that I'm going to get these videos, obviously. So the first video they showed that I looked at was the video that we've all seen. It's the video of the beatdown in the holding area where there's like several different guys. And his aunt just said, yes, he's still in the coma. So he shows me that, and I watched that, and I'm like, yeah, I have this, and then but we'll watch it, see if there's anything longer there, anything happens, and it was the same. So that was Gulley in holding cell, and that was exactly the video that I have. The next, and this is what's very important for the family, because I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm going to be saying things that people have not heard, and this was wild. So the next video was video by body camera from Sergeant Wyan. Everybody keeps calling him Sergeant Ryan. It's not Ryan, R-Y-A-N. It is Sergeant Wyan, W-I-O-N. It sounds like you are saying Ryan with a speech impediment. It's not Ryan. It's Wyan. And it's so weird to say because every time I say it, it sounds like I'm being Dutch. Sergeant Wyan. Is Sergeant Wyan home? I would like to play Sergeant Wyan body camera. And the one thing I can tell you from Wyan's body camera is however bad the quote-unquote beatdown doesn't look in the video, because it looks bad. With sound, it looks bad. It seems bad. they're all running around saying, oh, he was never beat. We never laid a hand on him. Nothing happened. This was all okay. Nah, with the video, it sounds bad. With Sergeant Wyann's body camera, it sounds 10 times worse. And it looks very bad. And you can tell that he's a big boy and he's laying on Nicholas and he is pummeling him. He's given him what for. And the female deputy, the female CO that runs in is doing the same thing. There's one deputy, Deputy Lee, who's just laying. They've all got body cams. They've all got body cams. All of the jailers have body cams. Every single one of them. I watched the body camera from every single one of the COs. I watched Wyann's body camera. I watched Moore's body camera. And I watched Lee's body camera. So I saw every one of the body cameras. So they already have that. Just FYI. And I'm not being a dick, Randy. I'm just telling you, they already have body cameras there. So just FYI. So I watched these body cams, and really, Officer Moore's body camera and Officer Lee's body camera really doesn't show much. It doesn't show anything more than what Wyann's body camera does. And Wyann's body camera is the one that shows the most. Okay, it shows, and I've requested these. I've watched these. I've requested them, and we should have them, possibly have them tomorrow. And I'm going to put all these out there, and you guys will watch everything I'm telling you, everything that I'm currently telling you. So here's what I had to do. I had to go view this stuff and then tell them what I wanted, and then they're providing them to me on these flash drives, and then I'll bring them home and I will show them to you. You'll get to see every bit of this. The next video was Gulley being taken out of holding and put in medical. So, they take him out. They take him out of the cell, and we're like, well, where did he go? Did they do something to him? I will tell you, on the 9th, they did not do anything to him. They walked him from where he was into what they call medical. Medical sounds like, ooh, it's going to be like there's like a medical bed, a hospital bed, and he's in there with, wires attached to him, and he's got oxygen or he's got an IV. No, medical is just another jail cell, a concrete jail cell with a concrete metal bed, and nobody else is in there. It's just him. And so they take him in there, and he's upset. He's mad. Like, listen, I'm going to be honest. He did not deserve what he got, period. He did not get what he deserved, period. He was running his mouth the whole time. I mean, he was doing the thing. He was calling them bitches and calling them whores and all that. But look, he was mad. He shouldn't have even been there. But and then on top of that, what was going on? It was crazy. So what Guffey told me was that they were concerned that he was going to go into withdrawal because of what he tested for in his system. In one of the videos, he can be heard saying, I'm not even on Suboxone like that. I'm not even on Suboxone like that. I just started Suboxone, and it's not that much. So what it sounds like is he has started Suboxone. And for those of you that are not familiar, Suboxone is a MAT, a medical aided treatment drug that is given in place of somebody being addicted to opiates or heroin. So someone who is addicted to heroin or addicted to pain pills, opiates, and they're trying to come off and they don't want to go through withdrawals and do that, They will take you've heard of methadone. There's methadone, there's Suboxone, and there's Subutex. And he's apparently taking Suboxone or Subutex. I don't know which one he said. It's basically the same thing, with just a minor difference. But he's apparently on that. None of my business, none of anybody's business. I'm just telling you, you're going to hear it in the video, so I'm just telling you. You can withdraw from Suboxone. And if you're on Suboxone and you take it and then you don't take it, you can't have withdrawal from it. You know, I don't know how much he was on, don't know how much he took, don't know anything about that. Don't care. I'm just telling you, the withdrawal is like going through withdrawal on pills and heroin. For those people that don't know what that is, it's it's like having the flu. It's like having a really bad flu. You're sick. You're sick to your stomach. Your stomach's like gurgling. You could have diarrhea. You could right, Noah. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. It's like having the flu. Your stomach hurts. You're throwing up. You're having diarrhea. Your nose is running. You've got real bad leg cramps, restless leg syndrome. You can't sleep. You can't stand. You can't sit. You can't eat. It's really bad. That's why that's why heroin and opiates are the way that it is. That's the problem. Because if you didn't have that, people would just be like, okay, I'm not going to do it. But it's so bad that people will steal from their mother, steal from people, do horrendous, crazy shit to get money, to get dope, to make them. You'll hear people say they're getting well. They're going to get well. They need to stop being sick. That's what that means. That they're getting enough dope, enough opiates to fix the withdrawal. And you'll hear people who are in active addiction for a long time say, look, I don't even get high anymore. I'm just making myself normal. Because here's like baseline. And then when you're on opiates and heroin, you're like way up here. It's way up here, way up here. But then when you're withdrawing, you're way, 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 way down here. And so all that these, when they get well, all it does is it just gets them back to normal, where they're not shitting themselves. They're not throwing up. They're not, they're able to function. They're able to sleep until it wears down. Now, I didn't see any signs from the video that I saw of Nick where it looked like he was in withdrawal. I did not see that. Stacy Guffey told me that he was excessively thirsty. He was very thirsty, and that is something that people will drink like that. But I don't know where the proof is of that. I saw him take 2 glasses of water before the beating on the 9th. Okay, I'm gonna need to let me go back here and get the name. I forget. Carol, I'm going to reach out to you guys. I'm going to reach out to your sister tomorrow. I really need to talk to your sister, and I need to talk to Nick's girlfriend, because we have really, really, really got to narrow some times and some dates down, because everybody and their brother is saying that this guy was beat on the 11th, on Sunday the 11th. The video that I've seen shows that there was a beating on the 9th. Now, he very well could have been beat on the 9th, and he could have been beat on the 11th. The videos that I saw, the other views, the body cameras and everything, it's all on the 9th. So they show me all of this, and they're basically like, they're like, okay, well, we've shown you everything. And I was like, no, You didn't show me everything. I want to see. I was like, I want to see these days where he was. I want to see when he left the jail. Now, this is very important for the family, what I'm getting ready to say here. This is very important. Stacy Guffey says, "Oh, I thought I got the video of him leaving ready for you." He was like, "It's not on here." He was like, "Well, we'll find it. I'll look for it and I'll show it to you here real quick." And I was like, "Okay, great." And he says, "Okay, Amanda's here. This is very important. I need to call you. I need to call you tomorrow. We need to talk about this." You guys, from what I've heard, and you can tell me in the comments yes or no, I want to ask you before I say this. What time did they release him from the jail? Do you know what time he left the jail to go to the hospital? I want you guys to say this before I say it. I'm going to wait. Can someone from the family, nobody else, I just want the family to tell me, so don't pop in the comments and help them out. I want the family to tell me what time they believe or think that he left the jail. We know he left the jail on Sunday the 18th. I want to know what time we believe he left. What time on the 18th we think that he left. Okay, there it is. It says like 8:42. 8:42. That's mom. This is mother talking. This is Nick's mother talking. That's what I've heard from everybody that I've talked to. People outside of you guys, people that were in the jail, people that used to work at the jail that know people there, inmates. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and everybody says that he left. The consensus is that he left between 7:30 and 9. Okay? And I know from you guys that said that his girlfriend got a notice about this time that said he's being OR'd, and you were like, well, I don't understand what's going on. So Guffey says to me, do you know what time he left? And I said, I think it was like 8 or 8:30 or something like that. But if you just go to 7:30, we can go from there. So Guffey's like, that doesn't sound right, but okay, we'll do it. So Guffey takes us up in the video to 7:30. And we're watching, and we're watching, and we're watching. And on the feed that they are showing me, when a camera is active but there's no movement, the screen's clear. When there's movement, it's a colored in block. So he takes me up to about like 8:15, and from 8:15 on, there's no movement. And he blows this up and he says, well, this isn't right. That door here, pod 1, he's in the padded room 1. It's just a padded, had him in a padded room. He wasn't in medical before he left. He was in padded room. They said, that door's open. And I was like, okay. And they're like, well, if he was in there, that door wouldn't be open. And I was like, okay. And he said, well, he had to have left before this. And it was like 8:40. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, here, let me do this. Let me rewind. So he rewinds. He goes back. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, and like people might be like, well, this doesn't seem like a big deal, or Sproles is going to say Bilbrey's blowing this out of proportion. It doesn't mean anything. I think it means something. I think it means something. Okay. Nick Gulley left the Henry County Jail by way of EMS on a stretcher, basically motionless, at 3:34 p.m. He left the jail via the ambulance at EMS was called at 3:28 p.m. EMS was called at 3:28 p.m. and EMS arrived at 3:34 p.m. EMS was 10:23. That means arrived. They were on scene at 3:34. And what I'm watching is I'm watching the outside of a cell. Now, when they took Gulley from the holding cell to the medical bay, which is just another jail cell, let's quit calling it medical. What medical means is a cement jail cell with a steel bed and a steel toilet, and they threw his bedding in there. They didn't set his bedding down. They wadded it up, and they threw it in past him. He's handcuffed, and instead of uncuffing him and telling him to walk forward, they open the cuff door on the door, and they pull him down to it after they've beat him, and they pull his arms through the cuff door way far out the cuff door. Like, that would have hurt me. That would have hurt me. But they're like pulling his arm, and he's yelling. He's like, "You don't have to pull my arm, bitch. You don't have to pull my arm like that, bitch." Right. I was like, yeah, bitch. Why are you pulling his arm like that? You know? So they were still hurting him as they were uncuffing him. They were letting him know, yeah, we're not playing with you. All right. They were causing him pain just in the act of uncuffing him. That was on the 9th. Okay. He walked there by himself, no problem. On the 18th, he's now no longer in medical. He's now in padded 1 cell. And 4 deputies walk over to the... One deputy walks over, another deputy walks over, and then like 2 deputies walk over, and they all go inside the padded cell. And one of them's carrying something. And then all of a sudden they go in and they're carrying something, and then they kick out some green stuff. And I was like, well, what's this? And we're watching, and we're watching. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I want to see the video inside there next. So then all of a sudden, at 3:28, the EMS is called. 3:34, EMS arrives, and they don't walk him out to the cot. I was shocked at this because I didn't think it'd be able to get in there. They actually push the stretcher into the cell. They put him on the stretcher inside the cell. They had to put him on the stretcher. He did not get up there himself, Stacy said. They then have him like locked down on the stretcher, and they pull it out, and he's got his shirt off. And I say to after they wheel him out and he's gone, okay, we'll come back to what time. We'll come back to what time it was. I said, well, I want to see the video inside there. And Guffey says, we can't let you see that because he's nude in there. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, he's nude inside there. He's nude. And I said, so he's just in there naked? And they're like, yeah. What they had to take him was like some normal clothes so he could go to the hospital. They brought him clothes. So he was in a padded cell. And I was like, well, why was he in there? And this is what Guffey said. Guffey said he went from the padded cell. He went from the medical, the medical area, apparently to D block. And then they noticed, and this is Guffey's words, they noticed he was getting, he was deteriorating. This is what Guffey said. So they took him back to medical. And sometime while he was in medical, Guffey's claims were he made some comments that got him on suicide watch. Now, he never said he was going to kill himself. He said this is what Guffey said. he made some comments, like he was searching for the word he was going to say. He made some comments that got him in the padded cell. And I said, okay. And he said, the padded cell doesn't have a bed. There's nothing in there. It's just a padded cell. It's just a padded cell. And he was in there with a paper smock. So if you don't know what a paper smock is, it's something that they put on people who are under suicide watch so they can't hang themselves with their shirt sleeve or their shoelaces. And he was in there naked with a paper smock and a blanket. And the blanket is done in such a way like it's a wool like blanket, so they can't wad it up and hang themselves or whatever. There's nothing to hang themselves on in there. So I'm just like, okay, well, like he's in there laying, and they're like, we could see he was deteriorating. And I asked Guffey, I was like, wait a minute. What I want to know is, do you guys, what's the system that you have that notifies family members when somebody is released from here? And Guffey said, we don't have a system like that. And I said, well, the girlfriend got something. And they said, well, that could have been from the Vine system or whatever, but he acted like he knew nothing about that. And I said, well, when do you notify people of that? Like, why would there have been a discrepancy? And he's like, he had no answer for that. So the green stuff was the paper smock and the blanket that he had. And he was apparently given like gray shorts, and then he was shirtless. But when the cop wheeled out, he was there. So this is the thing. He went to the hospital. He was at the hospital by 4:00. Why was his family not made aware of the fact that he was at the hospital for 4 hours? And here's the interesting thing. While he was at the hospital for 4 of those hours, he was under the jail's purview, under their supervision. They were responsible for what was happening there for 4 hours. Well, when Guffey got word that even at the hospital he was deteriorating more and they were getting ready to move him to another hospital, Guffey got on the horn with the judge and said, we need to get this guy, we need to cut this guy loose. And that is when they OR'd him finally at like 8:30. So he wasn't taken to the hospital, released at 8:30. He was approximately 8:30, somewhere around there, Alva, is what Guffey said when they finally called and said, all right, we need to OR him. We need to get him out of here. And Guffey said the reason they did that was because if you got an inmate that's not going to make it, if you got an inmate that's doing bad, they can't allow family into the jail. So they do that so the family can go up there and be with him and spend time with him or whatever. So from what it sounds like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. From what it sounded like, and they didn't say this, but in so many words, they thought he was gonna die, and I'm so sorry, and I am sorry that to the family, and that's very hard, very cold, and I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to make it bad for you guys, but that's just the long and the short of it. And you guys need to know that whatever they did, and so I said, well, I want to see the footage of when he went into the interview, into the visitation with the girlfriend. So they had no other video. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to email the attorney and John Guy and find out what's going on. I hate to ask, but how did the family find out where he was if the girlfriend got no? I hate to ask, but how did the family find out where he was if the girlfriend got notice 4 hours later? Well, so what happened was 4 hours. So he was at the hospital at Henry County. Then they OR'd him, and whenever they OR'd him at 8:30, it sent some kind of a notice to the girlfriend via the app on her phone, and then she notified like his mom and his family that he was released and at the hospital. So first and foremost, I'm very, very bothered by the fact that the family didn't know what was happening for 4 hours. Okay, I'm mad at. I don't like that. Their story is he was perfectly fine when they put him in the padded cell, whenever that was. So Guffey told me that he was put in the padded cell on 812 watch, which is police code for okay. He was put in the padded cell in the early morning hours of the 18th. So like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on the 18th is when he was put in there. And so they noticed that he was deteriorating, and so they put him back in a watch, and then from there, apparently, he's like, oh, I'm deteriorating, I'm going to kill myself. I'm like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. And then they put him in there, and then he's knocking on the door. And so they freaked out. Listen, we've caught them with their pants down. I am telling you 100% what's going on here is a bad situation. So I am waiting on them. They are now in the process of putting videos on this for me to show. And I'm sent the message out to them saying, I want this date and this date and this date. And I want to see what's going on here. Now, Janetta Cruz from WIBC did a story on this, has done a couple of stories on this, and has told me, I've reached out to her, and she told me that she would be getting a hold of me in 2 weeks. And this was on February 8th. She told me she was going to be getting a hold of me in 2 weeks. I don't know what the hell it's going to take in 2 weeks. She just did another story on the lawsuit. She needs to get in contact with me. If anybody out there has connections with Janetta Cruz, she needs to get in contact. We need to talk. It would help if I had more resources. It would help if we were able to help each other out. And so this is a story that needs to be fully vetted, fully investigated, and fully fleshed out. And the people of Henry County need to know. Moreover, his family needs to know what the hell is going on here. So I did ask Stacy Guffey if he believes any inmates touched him or hurt him in any way. Amanda, nobody's saying green stuff. I said that on the video, people can see green stuff. Amanda, if you talk to her, message her, text her, whatever, give her my cell phone number and tell her to contact me. You're free to give her my number if you have it. Do you have my number? I'm going to call you tomorrow because you and I need to talk about a couple things. So I'll give you a call tomorrow and we can chat. But if you can, give her my number because I don't want to lose any more time emailing and texting through Messenger. She needs to call me and we need to chat because I think I can do some things to help her. I think we can help each other, which ultimately will help you guys. So there's just some very strange things here. The green stuff was in the video. You can't see it now. You'll see it. I just described it. You'll see it. You'll see it when you see the videos. But I'm working on getting the other things to be able to go through things. And yes, Angie. So that's the thing. Wasn't he not well? And when the girlfriend visited, and yes, that's what the family's saying, that he was not there. He could barely walk in on his own, and he could barely walk out. And the reason the state police is not investigated or been involved is because the state police won't look into the case unless the sheriff's department asks them or if the prosecutor's office asks them. And moreover, it appears as though the state police are buddy with Sproles, and they're not going to do anything to help out here. This is going to have to be an outside source. The feds need to look into this. Okay, right here we go. From Kate. Quote from Sproles' Facebook statement. He was transported to the hospital via ambulance on January 18th due to a complaint of pain and trouble breathing, not due to injuries, which is the dumbest sentence in life. He was released from our custody by a judge order shortly after being transported to the hospital via ambulance. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're looking at a 24-hour window, if you're looking at a 24-hour window, 4 hours is shortly. But if you're looking at like what real people time is, 4 or 5 hours window of his family not knowing where he was. His family thought he was safe at the jail. His family thought he was in jail. He was laying in a hospital deteriorating. And they didn't know. He was not. Yeah, Alva, that's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly correct. That's exactly correct, Eric. Also, at no time was he ever lying on the floor requesting and being refused medical assistance. Well, I don't know anything about being refused medical assistance, but I know he was laying on the floor in the padded room. That's true. The visit with the girlfriend was on Monday the 12th. Yeah, right, Eric. So this is a mess. They are trying to walk around this. I asked Guffey. I said, "So you're sure that he was never touched by another CO at any other time in here? Touched, rudely or in an insolent manner?" And Guffey said, "No, we wouldn't allow that." So, that's where we are. That's where we are. It's a fight, but I'm still in the fight, and we're gonna do what we've got to do. And there's more video. There's more video to get. There's more video that we're gonna watch. And listen to me. You're gonna see everything that I just described. You guys are going to see it with your eyes here. So we're gonna put it out there, and we're gonna do what we got to do. Sproles is currently down the rabbit hole, fighting me on Facebook like a total jackass, just completely ignorant. He is off and wrong about the things that he's saying, which is absolutely very good possibility of winding himself up in a second defamation lawsuit. I just cannot understand why he just doesn't shut his mouth, but he can't stop himself. Absolutely, Amanda, and he needs to hang on just a little bit longer and get better and do what he can. I know it's tough. I want you guys to hear something here. Let me find something. Give me a second. So a guy on John's wall earlier in the day said, "I don't know you," talking to the sheriff. John Sproles, "I don't know you, and I sure don't know the a-hole who took his anger out on you. But isn't it a little much to reply to his nonsense? Calling the kettle black, I know, because I engage in this petty stuff too much myself. But you're the sheriff, and who cares what that fellow's opinion is? Anyhow, congratulations to you, and I imagine most of the citizens appreciate your deputy service. I've had little interaction with your department, but when I have, it's always been in a respectful manner, as you expect from your law enforcement. Stay safe." Sproles is just mad because he put out a post yesterday that, in my opinion, is misleading. Okay? In my opinion, this is a misleading post. So, yesterday at 10:01, he put out a post that said this: "Where did the last 30 years go?" Clock emoji, police officer emoji, police car emoji. Yesterday, now listen, yesterday marked the 30-year anniversary of being sworn in as a reserve deputy sheriff here in Henry County. Now listen to that. Yesterday marked the 30-year anniversary of being sworn in as a reserve deputy sheriff here in Henry County. If you're just somebody that sees the post and reads the post in a quick pass and you don't go down and read it all, to a lot of people, that could make it look as if he's talking about the fact that he's been in law enforcement for 30 years. That's not true. He goes on and says, "I spent many thousands of hours patrolling our county as a reserve deputy for no pay, and I loved every minute of it. I have had the honor of being a full-time deputy sheriff for the past 7 years and have served our county as the elected sheriff for the past 3+ years. I have loved each tour of service equally. I love serving our community, caring for our people, and especially love sharing hope with our inmates and drug court participants. It's my ultimate goal to live out our Henry County mission statement of do justice, love mercy, and be humble." He then edited that. I'm trying to see what he did to edit it. I don't know. He edited it in some small way that I can't see what the actual edit is. Let's see here. It is I love, I have. It is I love, I have. I spent yesterday where? I spent yesterday where? Yeah, I don't know what the edit is, but he edited it a couple of times. He serves Ohio too. So I just got on and I made a quick little post. This post, like most other things the current sheriff of Henry County does, is misleading. It sets it up to look like he served for 30 years under his belt, which is simply not true. He was a reserve for 2 years, 30 years ago. He then stopped being a reserve at that time. He then spent 2 more years as a reserve from 2017 to 2019, becoming a full-time merit deputy in March of 2019 and serving as a deputy from then until disaster struck in November of 2022, when he was elected by a very small number of citizens, many who were fooled and now totally regret their decision to vote for him. He has then served as the sheriff from January 1st, 2023 through now. So he served as a reserve for 4 years, separated out by 2 years on, 22 years off, and then 2 years on. He then served as a merit deputy for 3.5 years and now a sheriff for 3 years. So truthfully, he's only served for 2 years as a reserve, which means not 5 days a week, 4 days a month, 4 weeks a month, or for 24 months. All told, in those 2 years, he probably served less than 100 days. Okay? So it's not like he had hundreds of thousands of hours. He served less than 100 days. And let me tell you, I've talked to those deputies that were on when he was a reserve back then and when he was a reserve at Caddis, and they say he was at fault for doing everything that he blames small town deputies for doing now. He was all over the place in his Caddis car. He was pulling people over left and right, doing weird ass shit. Same shit he does now. So he would have started being a reserve when he was 21. On his 21st birthday, he says. That's what his claim is. He was sworn in on his 21st birthday as a reserve deputy. And he was a reserve for 2 years back then. Then he quit, and he went to work for his father for the next 20-some years. And then in 2017, he became a reserve again. From 2017 to 2019, he became a deputy. And I've heard the only reason he went full-time was so that he could then run for sheriff. And that's what he did. That was his goal in mind, that money was going to buy it. And that's what happened. So I say, then he became a full-time deputy. So this March, he will celebrate 7 years of actual service. Truth matters. And for those curious about the election numbers, and this is what I want people to understand. I want people to understand this, and this is what matters. John was elected with a total vote of 9,582 votes. Okay? 9,582 people voted for him for sheriff. Okay? Henry County's population in 2022 was 48,915 people. Of those 48,915, only 9,582 people voted for him, meaning that 39,333 people did not vote for him. Period. Okay? That's very, very, very big. Okay? It's very, very big for people to understand that. That's a shit ton of people that did not sign off on this dickhead being the sheriff of Henry County. All right? I just also want you guys to be aware that of those 9,582 people, let me tell you here. Of those 9,582 people, let me see. 4,359 of them were straight ticket Republican votes. So they didn't vote for him specifically. They just voted for the Republican Party, and he just happened to be on the part of the Republican Party. So if you take his 9,582 and you subtract 4,359 straight ticket votes, that means John actually only received 5,223 people who walked in and pressed the vote button for him. Okay. Now, I know that I said that there were 48,915 population. Okay. But in fairness, there were only 31,198 registered voters. So that 9,000 is out of a short number. But the people that didn't vote for him, the kids, whatever, they still didn't vote for him. So that's a valid fact. It's a valid number. I get it. I get that he didn't, those people aren't registered. But that's still only 9,000 people out of 31,000 people. And out of that 9,000, really only 5,223 people actually cast a ballot specifically for John. We have to defeat that in this upcoming election. All we got to do, Henry County, is don't elect Sproles and don't elect Howard, and from there, elect whichever other one of the idiots you want to, and we can hate on that person next and find somebody eventually good. But we got to end with this. We got to stop this. We got to stop this insanity. 16%. So he's like, I got 72%. I got 72% I got 72% of the total people voted for me. Well, listen, dude, if like 3 people out of 10 vote for you, 10's not a big number. 3's even less. So shut up. I just don't know what even to tell you. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night. It's been a long show, but we had a big topic to talk about. I want to thank all of you. Continued thoughts and prayers for the Gulley family, for Nick. Continued prayers for his mother, his extended family, everybody. Prayers for them. Prayers for us that we're able to put on the armor of God and fight against the evil that is whatever's going on in the Henry County Sheriff's Department. And we're able to stand up against them and defeat this and get these videos. We will be bringing them to you as soon as we have them. Amanda, I am going to get in contact with you tomorrow. If you get a chance to reach out to Cruz, Janetta Cruz, please do. Give her my number. You're free to give her my number. Just to be sure that you have it. That number that you can give her is right here. That number is 765-546-9796. Please, please, please make sure she gets that just at your convenience. You don't have to rush to do anything. But I will get a hold of you tomorrow, ma'am, and we'll talk. Hey, when you're voting in Henry County, consider voting for Mary Nicholson for Henry County Township Trustee Board. And if you want, just all you got to do is go in. It's a place where you can vote for 3 people. But if you go in and you just bullet vote for Mary, voting for Mary once and leaving the other 2 places blank is like voting for Mary 3 times. So people the last time said, well, can't we just vote for Mary 3 times? Yes, you can. In order to do that, you walk in and you cast a vote for Mary and you leave the other 2 names blank. 1 vote for Mary and 2 blank votes is 3 votes for Mary. So keep that in your heads, folks. We'll talk to you about that more and more and more and more. So I appreciate you. You guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. Share the show before you go. Just do better, Kate. I don't even know what he told you that for, but just do better. That's all you need to do is just do better. Hey, Randy. Just eat a dick. That's all you got to do, bro. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's all. All right. You guys take care. Have a good evening. God bless each and every one of you. So it doesn't sound so weird. Anyways, thank you for all. And we will be back here tomorrow with another great show. And hopefully we'll have some more answers for you guys. Take care and good night.